fourth annual Farm Factory Fork Career Discovery here at Mount Mary University. We're very excited to be here. We have 15 high schools with us today, 27 food and beverage companies. This being our fourth annual, for sure what we've seen is an increase in the number of schools, starting with 1 school, going to 4 schools. Last year was 9 schools, and this year we've got 15 high schools that turned out. In addition to that, we've had a growing interest on the food and beverage company side, so we've seen an uptick in the number of companies here. And I think even more importantly and exciting for the students is that we have more colleges and universities coming onto the scene and actually offering programming in the food and beverage industry. The food companies here today are pretty amazing, and I think what's fun about this industry, it's just not the consumer products that we know. So the Palermo pizza, the Ocean Spray, the Sargento cheese. It's also some equipment companies are here that only make equipment for the industry, in particular in packaging. So we have Vanco and Crohn's here that are here to demonstrate for the students what that packaging side looks like. We have Sendix here on the grocery side of the industry. We also have Carey Ingredients here, as well as Christian Hansen. They play in the ingredient space. Angelic Bakehouse is here, Johnsonville Food. It's just a really nice combination of companies here that kids can really get a nice look at the industry in its full complexity. Yeah, this year we were really excited to get the kids time to sit down with CEOs. It's something that we have done in the past in a different format and really found that the kids just really dig sitting down with CEOs. And we had 4 gracious CEOs that stepped up, the CEO of Sargento Foods, Louis Gentine, the CEO of Palermo's Pizza, Giacomo Faluca, Katie Wessel, the owner of Milwaukee Pretzel, Carey Ingredients, they have a president that was with us today, Colin McDermott. They're an Ireland-based company. And then we had Truman McGee, the owner of Funky Fresh Spring Roll. He was just our rockin' moderator for the day.
So everyone seated? I'd like you to raise your hands and give a warm welcome to Dr. Christine Farr.
I am the president of Mount Mary University, and I'm very proud to say that we have recently initiated a new food science major. So, hey, way to go, huh? This is a wonderful event that's hosted by FAB, Farm to Factory to Fork. There's a whole lot to the science of food, and we hope today that you will get some understanding of the myriad of opportunities and careers that are available to you in the food industry. So I see all along the sides and the back here, we have a bunch of different displays, which is fabulous. Of course, I have to point out the Mount Mary one right back there, where they're going to be doing some demonstrations. And you will also have the opportunity to see our brand new food science lab, which is in another building here up on the 3rd floor. I want to tell you that my background is in chemistry. So I totally understand food science, but when I was 22 and graduated from college, I really didn't know what to do with that job. If you have a background in science, if you like science, the food industry is a thriving industry in Wisconsin and also in our neighboring state of Minnesota. So we live kind of in a food corridor. There are tremendous numbers of jobs and careers available in this area. So I want you to really think today as you look at the opportunities that are available for these various companies about how this might be an opportunity for you. I want to tell you that Mount Mary is very glad to be hosting this event, and we hope that you will come back frequently. Please have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Dr. Farr. She had a very big celebration this last Friday, the inaugural of her new role as president here at Mount Mary University. So another round of applause. I also want to take a moment to thank Mount Mary for hosting us this year. The space is amazing. In particular, how many of you were here last year? Or I should say at the Farm Factory Fork last year at the Public Museum. Students, raise your hands. Exhibitors? Much better space this year, don't you think? Yeah, a lot more elbow room. I also want to take a moment to thank everyone behind the scenes at Mount Mary. I think we worked with 10 or 12 different people. The team here rocks. Thank you very much for making this possible for us. All right. Does everybody here like food? Let me hear you. Woohoo! Do you enjoy your Kickstart breakfast this morning? Yeah. All got your Angelic Bakehouse backpack? Yeah, you'll fill that up today for sure. That means you're at the right place at the right time. We're thrilled to have you. Thank you all for coming out to Farm Factory Fork with us, especially all the students and your chaperones. Woo! I'm Shelley. My professional title is Executive Director of FAB Wisconsin. In the nonprofit world, Executive Director is equivalent to President. FAB Wisconsin has a really cool role here, and the team that works with me, our job is to make it easy for our food and beverage companies to grow their businesses. Myself and the FAB team, we get to work with some truly amazing people and companies who bring you and the world our food and drink. Part of our work is introducing all of these companies to students like you. We have something in common, all of us. We all strive for better food. We're excited to share this Farm Factory Fork experience with you today. Our company volunteers have designed some really fun discovery activities for you. So after the panel presentation, we're going to ask you to get up and visit all the tables around the perimeter of the room. Their activities are a snapshot for all of you into the world of what it's like to work in the food and beverage industry, with lifetime career opportunities that are an opportunity to be a part of something big. So my food story. I grew up on a popcorn farm. There are such things as popcorn farms. Flipped burgers at Hardee's restaurant all through high school. I went on to get my degree in food science. I actually went to college because I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian. I took my first food science class. I was hooked. I still love animals, but I love food. I went on then to work for the world's largest maker of pepperoni. Does anyone in the room know how long it takes to make a stick of pepperoni? On average, days. Come on, shut up. How many days to make a stick of pepperoni? Lower. 18 days on average to make a stick of pepperoni. All of my work experience led me to the job that I have now as Executive Director of a nonprofit to be here with all of you today. Thank you very much for joining us. Today you're going to hear many food stories, and we hope to jumpstart yours. Today you'll meet the companies and the people that bring you and the world the products you know and love, from farm to factory to fork. Hopefully you caught that one slide in the video. It's not always farm to fork, and actually very seldom is it farm to fork. There are people in between that bring you your food and beverage, and you're going to meet many of them today. We're going to kick things off with a CEO panel, 5 different stories, 5 different companies, one dream, to grow their companies by making the best products with the best talent. That's all of you in this room. As they're sharing their stories, students, I want you to think of questions that you like to ask them, because after the panel, we're going to invite you up to the stage here to go ahead and face off with them and ask them a question. And I know from past experience at the Farm Factory Fork that you're all not shy, so I'm going to look forward to having you come up to the stage to ask your question. After your questions, we're going to have a 15-minute break. That will be just enough time for our exhibitors to get back to their tables. If you need to use the restrooms, they're right through there underneath the exit sign. Just take the stairs down. I think that should do it. So let's go ahead and get this program going. I'd like to invite our panelists up, starting with Giacomo Faluca. Giacomo, if you want to come on up, there's a stair here, or you can hop up, whichever is your preference. Woo-hoo. Anyone. Giacomo is the chairman and CEO of Palermo's Pizza, the king of pizzas. We've all had Palermo's? Yes. A little secret about Giacomo, he's also part owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. So, see what a food career can do for you. Katie Wessel, we'd like to come up next. Katie and her husband own Milwaukee Pretzel. Katie is the owner and chief executive officer. Woo-hoo. That pretzel bun on your sandwich this morning, their product, freshly baked for all of you. Next up, Louis Gentine. Louis is the third generation CEO of Sargento Cheese, and I'm guessing, yeah, go ahead, give him applause. I'm guessing that some of you may have seen Louis and his father Lou on a commercial or two, and if you had cheese on your sandwich this morning, it was their Colby cheese. Next up, Colin McDermott. Woohoo! You make stepping up on the stage look very easy. Colin is president at a company called Kerry, which is based out of Ireland. Yes, your food career can go global. Kerry makes flavors and seasonings, so likely some of their seasoning was in the sausage that you had this morning. And their ingredients get into many, many products, and he'll share a little bit of that with you as well. And next up, and last but certainly not least, I am pleased to turn the microphone over to our moderator, the one and only Truman McGee, owner of Funky Fresh Spring Rolls. He too has a great food story to share. Woo-hoo! I'm going to ask one of you to grab a microphone behind you there and turn on the button. If I can help you guys with that. Just hold, where is it? Where's the on button? On the bottom of those. There we go. On the bottom, you got it? Help, please.
Check.
Oh, it's on. You're good. Give it everything. Is that right?
Check.
Now you can all see I forgot to change my shoes for you. I'm so sorry. All right, we'll let you guys take it over. Oh, did I take this?
Yeah, that's okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Let me hear some noise. Good morning. How you guys doing? My name is Truman. I'm head owner and roll master of Funky Fresh Spring Rolls. Before we get started, I know we got a lot of teens in here. I know people are interactive. This is kind of off script, so don't kill me, Shelly. So I know that everybody's into Instagram, so I want to make it just a quick video for Instagram. On 3, I want everybody to say, I love food. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome, awesome. Also, one more, another interactive thing. If you got a cell phone, take a picture anytime throughout this show and hashtag FabWisconsin, and I'm going to pick a lucky winner on Instagram to get a dozen spring rolls. I'm going to find you. I don't care where you live. I'm going to get you a dozen spring rolls. Take a picture, hashtag it, tell your friends. So, we want to get into it, and thank you for having me up here as the moderator. We want to get into a couple questions. So the first question for the crew is, what is your food story? What got you into food? I'm going to start with myself. So back in 2012, I was at my lowest, and that's where most great ideas come from, when your back is against the wall. I was about 300 pounds, twice the size I am now, and I needed a change in my life. I had a son who was 2 years old. I just got laid off as my job as a construction worker, so I figured I needed to start myself. I started eating healthier foods and started working out, and the pounds just came off, and I thought, you know what, I'm not going back into construction. I'm going to do something different in my life. So I became a personal trainer, had started a business called Getting Tired Fitness, where we do non-traditional workouts with tires and etc. So a year into me starting my fitness business, I realized that people need to eat healthy more than they need to work out. So I was making meals for my clients. I did a sweet potato and black bean burrito. I thought it was amazing. I gave it to my dad. He's the biggest carnivore on the planet, and he liked this vegetarian meal. And I thought, wow, if he liked it, everybody liked it. So I put it into an egg roll. It was delicious. I found out spring roll wrappers are less calories than egg roll wrappers. Put into spring roll wrappers, it was even more amazing. That was in 2013. We did about 5,000 spring rolls out of my house. Don't tell the health department, it's too late now. But we started in 2015. It became such a big thing. We called it Funky Fresh Spring Rolls. We sold our spring rolls at farmers markets, festivals. We did about 20,000 spring rolls that year. Last year, our company grew. We tripled that number. We were about 60,000 spring rolls. We opened a store in the Grand Avenue Mall, and we're looking to get our rolls into every grocery store on the face of the planet. So we're going to pass it on, keep going.
Okay, thank you, Truman. So my food story is probably a little bit less exciting. I started working in a supermarket when I was probably 15, 16 years old, fruit and veg. And, someone said to you, well, that job's good, we've got to eat. So, your job's stable. And I think one of the slides earlier on made the same comment about everybody's got to eat. From that beginning in a fruit and veg department within a supermarket, I went through college. I became an accountant, obviously nothing to do with food on the surface. But I then joined an accounting firm that focused very much on food. So we did a lot of accounting work for biscuit manufacturers, cookie manufacturers, and the most interesting I found, we actually worked for fish farms. You might think that sounds a little bit weird doing accounting for fish farms. And yes, we did count the fish. We had some ways of doing it. We did count the fish. So from that, I then finished that role and went to work for one of our clients. This maybe wasn't quite food. It was a Scotch whisky manufacturing company. So food and beverage, I guess, but still in the food industry. From there, I joined Kerry. So I moved from Scotland to the US in '97. And, I've just been always wanted to stay in the food industry ever since then. I've had a number of different roles: accountant, plant manager, production manager, sales manager. Right now, I run a business unit where we have 9 facilities around North America. And, the most exciting thing is to see our products. You won't see our products on the shelf with the name Kerry. But what we do see, and, Destiny, who's with our group here today, can attest that you'll see products that have our ingredients. So it might be a new potato chips on the shelf, and it will be Destiny seasoning that's on it. It could be an ice cream that's been launched, and it's our inclusion, it's our chocolate piece, or it's our cookie dough piece, a breakfast cereal, a nutritional bar. We've got some bars on our shelf there for some of the main and major brand owners, and it's our pieces that are in the bars. So every single day, we're seeing different launches. We're seeing our products in the supermarket. There's a sense of pride to seeing that things that we've invented, we've developed, and we've come up with and launched with these brand owners. So there's that excitement, there's pride, and at the end of the day, you get to go out and taste it. You see your friends tell you how good these products are. So, and every day is different, and we've got to keep on eating every single day. And even going into the future, it's definitely every single day brings a different challenge.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm Louis Gentine. I am a third-generation family member and the CEO of Sargento Foods. And I guess my food story actually started on September 25th, 1974. Anybody guess what that was? My birthday, right? So we were a family-owned company, so I guess you could say my food journey started, when I was born. So I had plenty of opportunities to work at the company that was started by my grandfather. My first job was actually washing trucks. And those of us here in the food industry know how important it is to deliver that product to consumers and to grocery stores. So my first job was to make sure those trucks were looking good. But I have plenty of other opportunities to work within our production facilities. I made breaded cheese products, so if you go to a county stadium and get those cheese nuggets that are breaded, those are made by Sargento. So I had an opportunity to get my hands into actually making the product and for the end product for our customer and our consumer. So after graduating high school, went on to school, and at that point I still didn't really know that I wanted to go back and work for the company that my grandfather started. Got a degree in finance and entered the commercial banking world after graduating college. That had tremendous experience. Got exposed to a whole lot of different things, and that knowledge that I gained when I decided to come back and pursue really where my strongest passion was, which is in the area of marketing, products, and strategy. I came back to work at Sargento back in 2000. And even from there, being able to have an opportunity to get exposed to all sorts of different aspects of the food chain has proven to be very beneficial as I can continue in my role right now. Food is exciting, it's fun. Innovation at Sargento is a big part of who we are as a company. You think about cheese and you kind of think of it as being just a ho-hum, boring thing to eat, but over 33 pounds of cheese is consumed per person per year in the United States. That's a lot of cheese, isn't it? So our job is to make cheese exciting. And so when you go to the grocery store and you see fun new products, like our Balance Breaks products or unique natural cheese slices, it's those types of things to kind of continue to keep that eating experience fun and enjoyable for the consumers. And that takes a lot of work, and we have a lot of people at Sargento that kind of make that happen every day. But even the very simplest ingredients or the simplest products, through a little bit of brain power and some thinking and listening to consumers, you can come up with some really cool ideas that ultimately consumers just gravitate to and love. So that's my food story.
Awesome. Katie?
Good morning. My name is Katie Wessel, and I own Milwaukee Pretzel Company with my husband, Matt. And my food story began when I was about 11 years old, and my family was having our entire extended family over for Thanksgiving. And my mom was supposed to be cooking everything. She woke up that morning, she was throwing up, and I went into the kitchen, and I saw my dad, and he was struggling making toast. So I said, all right, I can help you, I'll take over. And as soon as I started cooking and doing things, I just absolutely fell in love with it. And it was something that I did when I was stressed, when I was happy, when I was mad, when I was sad, it was my absolute love. And I debated going to culinary school, but I ended up getting a business degree at Marquette University. And that's where I met my husband as well, and he got a degree in marketing. So we were both in the corporate world, and in 2012, the company I was working for sent me over to Germany to develop their sales presence. So we were living in southern Germany for a year, and while we were there, we fell in love with the culture, the beer gardens, the beer, the pretzel. There was just something that was really unique and different about the pretzel over there. And when we came back here, we couldn't find a good quality German pretzel anywhere. We ordered it from all over the country. Nothing just felt right. So we decided we were going to make it ourselves. And it took me about 9 months to develop the recipe. And we married a few different regions of pretzels in Germany. And we started our company in 2013. So we've been in business now 5 years. The first year of business, we made a few thousand pretzels in that first year, which we thought was so huge. And this last year, we made almost 2 million pretzels out of our facility. So that's our story.
It's amazing.
Great story, Katie. Really. So my name is Giacomo Faluca, and I am the CEO of Palermo Villa Inc., and we are Milwaukee's frozen pizza manufacturer located in the Menominee Valley. My food story began also similar to Louis' when I was very young. My father and mother, Italian immigrants, opened up an Italian bakery on Milwaukee's east side in 1964. So as a child, we grew up mixing dough, making cannoli shells, baking breadsticks. We survived on a playpen in the back of our bakery because my parents were always working. And as a matter of fact, my father would many nights go to sleep on flour sacks because he had to start baking at midnight and he would take a break. And so we grew up in the bakery business from 1964, and then in 1969, my father opened up a restaurant right next door to the bakery. And so as a kid, I worked in that restaurant, bussing tables, washing dishes. I worked so much that I didn't really, I was so in tune to the work environment that even with school, I was, my teachers would say, you need to do more extracurricular activities. But I just loved being in that food environment. And so then in 1979, my father decided to sell the restaurant and get into the frozen pizza business. And so we started that year making French bread pizzas. And from that point on, we got into frozen pizzas, and that's how we began. My father didn't really know anything about the frozen pizza industry, and so we learned just by sheer grit, with a lot of passion to sell our products and to make our quality products. Today we employ over 800 people. We have our manufacturing plant in Milwaukee's Menominee Valley, and so I just love the creativity of the pizza business and the food business. When I hear all these stories and I think about, creativity and innovation and all that goes into any kind of a food and beverage product, it's a great career. And so I just want to encourage you to think about it, because food unites people, and it really does create an environment for socialization. So I love the pizza business. I'm glad to be here with these panelists.
Awesome. Clap it up for him once again. So we're going to just kind of go over a couple of questions. We're going to pass it. We won't have you guys go through the same rotation just to switch it up. But our next question is, what is a CEO? What do you do as CEO? How is it to, how is it to be a CEO? What are your day-to-day things? So I'll start with myself. Getting into a food business, like I said, kind of just happened. I always had this infatuation with food. My mom, was a caterer, and I used to be, with her. And like Gianco said, food connects people. Like whatever you do in life, if it's good, bad, happy, sad, more than likely food is going to be in the atmosphere. So that's what always attracted me to food. But just my day-to-day activities as a kid, like being your age, I always thought a CEO was this guy or gal who sat behind a desk and just told people what to do and smoked cigars every day and, and pet a little pet cat or something or whatever. But, the CEO, for me, it does top to bottom. Like even this morning, I'm at the grocery store picking up stuff, training people on customer service, helping cultivate our product so we can deliver the best spring rolls you ever had in your life. Meeting with people, mentoring people, being a mentee, and all in between. So that's my everyday life as a CEO, and learning, making mistakes, not quitting, getting out the bed and not being afraid of the day, and charging the day with a positive attitude. So that's me. So I'm gonna pass it to Katie first, and then we'll just hop it around. So answer the same question.
So you definitely do everything, and there's a lot of different aspects of that. There's finance, there's sales, there's production, there's a million different things I'm doing every single day. But I think my greatest focus and where I think I'm of most value in what I'm doing is in customer service. And what I mean by that is I tell our employees, any new hires or current employees, I said, the end of the day, I'm not paying your paycheck. It's the people that are buying our product. So it's my job to make sure that they're getting the same consistent quality product every single time, and that they're getting the highest level of customer service. So a lot of what I do is I check in on the quality of the product, of what's going in, what's going out, working on training with our managers and our staff to make sure they fully understand our product and our process. I also do some random things here and there, which last Friday we were on our way to the Bucks game, and one of our accounts was out of pretzel salt. And they called me and said, "Can you get pretzel salt?" I said, "Absolutely." So we drove quickly over to the bakery, brought pretzel salt back, and I think those types of things are really, really important. And that's where I focus the most of my time on, and then my husband spends most of his time on marketing, business, finance, and things like that. So it's very exciting. Every day is extremely different. You can plan your day out, and it'll never go that way. So.
Sweet. Colin?
Yeah, I mean, just to follow up from what Katie said, I think every day is different, but fundamentally, in the role as CEO for the for the business unit that I run in North America here, it's all about the customers, Katie said, but it's all about the people. So days like today and talking to everybody here, I mean, ultimately we can't run our businesses if we don't have the right people in place, and that's all about, you know, getting the right training, getting the right recruiting, and making sure we have the right people in the right roles. So, you know, whilst the customer is hugely important and the jobs aren't there without the customers, we can't service the customer without the people. So more and more, my role is very much about working with my reports, working with the plants. Again, you know, we have 9 plants across the country. We have close to 1,000 people in those sites. And then Kerry, as a North America business, is 43. So just trying to get all the right people in place to run these facilities is huge. You know, beyond that, if we can get that right, then we'll get the right products out to the customers and we'll service the customer.
Sweet. Go to Pizza King. Answer that.
Thank you. So my role as CEO is one that I've had for quite some time, but I think it's just really important to talk about what it took to get there. So as a kid growing up and early in my career, there were many jobs that I did from the restaurant days to mixing and rolling dough and making Italian sausage and working in the kitchen to do all the food prep and all the food service. I learned how to drive a manual transmission on a pizza truck, and so growing up through grade school and high school and into college, every job, loading trucks, scheduling production, and so it was a great experience to learn how to deal with people and to understand the business. And so today my role is focused mainly on, I simply say, people and pizzas, and so. It's people in our business that really enable us to produce our quality product, engage with our customers, to provide innovation in our industry on our private label or our branded sides of all of our products. And so that's what I focus on, are the people. And of course, there's mission and there's vision in our company, and so I love my job. I love what I do, and I love working with the people to see their personal and professional growth, and most of all, I really like to win. I like to win with our employees, and I like to win with our customers, and so that's what I focus on.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'll just build a little bit off of what Giacomo just said, and that preparation to getting into the role that I'm in right now was very important. And how I would add to what Giacomo said is the experiences that I had the opportunity to do in numerous roles within our organization, as well as in my time in commercial banking, was developing trust and respect of our employees, the Sargento family. And I think all of us up here today would say that if you don't have that trust and respect of your employees, it doesn't matter how strategic you are, how great of a marketer you are, you're not going to be able to get things done, because you require a whole lot of people working with you that are aligned with you to be able to kind of handle the day-to-day operations and the tasks. I'd say roles of CEOs change as your company grows as well. So when my grandfather started the business, he was actually out on the factory floor working on machines, fixing them, building them, and whatnot, because that's just what you did. I mean, you wore multiple hats. Fast forward today, given the size that we are as an organization and the fact that we have over 2,100 employees working for us makes my job very difficult, because I can't be involved in absolutely everything. So my job is to make sure that I have the right people in place who are following kind of the strategic direction of where we're headed as a company, and that are carrying on their specific functional role. And then my job then is to ask questions. When I have meetings, during the day, my job is to ask questions and then ultimately agree on recommendations or disagree on recommendations based on the questions that I'm asking. So I'm able to ask those questions because I have a pretty good understanding of all of the different aspects of our business. But that's my job, is to make sure that I maintain the trust and respect of the entire Sargento family, our community, our customers, all of our key stakeholders, so that we're able to continue to win with our consumer, win with our customers, and continue to be able to continue building great long-term stakeholder value at Sargento.
Awesome. So next question is, what advice do you have for these bright young students about getting into the food business? So I'll start with myself. I look out there and I see myself and a lot of you people, and when I was in high school, I went to Milwaukee Tech, and I wrestled. Any wrestlers in here? Hey, you wrestlers? Okay. I went to Milwaukee Tech, and it was a trade school, so they push you to get into a trade, which me personally, it was like a safe option or whatever. I started cooking as a young age, so I wanted to be a chef. And the dream seemed so big that I was just scared to chase it, but I was good at wrestling, and I was good at working my hands. So I figured if I go to college just to wrestle, I'll be stuck in a lot of debt. So that's why I got into construction. So I got into construction, and like 5 years into construction, actually, go backwards. One of the reasons I got into construction rather than being a chef was I would go to little career fairs. And the construction recruiters be like, you don't want to be a chef. They work long hours. You want to party on the weekend, right? If you work construction, you party on the weekend and all that. And y'all age, y'all like, what, party or dreams? Of course you want to party. At least I did. And 5 years into it, I was like just straight miserable because I really wasn't chasing what I wanted to do. So they would send me to career fairs and talk to kids like I'm doing now about getting into the trades. And they would just tell me, just lie to the kids and tell them it's all peaches and cream and everything. And I would just be completely honest and say, you know what, construction is great, but it's not steady. That's another conversation. But anyways, so I'm here talking to you guys now, and about getting to the food business. Just like anything in life, it's going to be tough. I think if you get the idea that anything in life is going to be easy out the way, the sooner, the better. That anything worth having in life is going to be extremely difficult, so be prepared for those tough days, no matter what you want to do. But with food specifically, everybody on the planet eats food. They have to live. Everybody doesn't wear clothes or have to, or buy the best clothes or shoes or whatever, but with food, everybody's infected. You can make such a great reach. You could bring so many smiles on people's faces. It's a pleasure to me still. I get like overwhelmed when I'm in a grocery store and someone like, hey, aren't you the Funky Fresh guy? I love your rolls. I had them at the farmer's market, whatever. It's a great feeling, but I know it's a lot of hard work that comes behind it. So if you love food, got any passion for it, I encourage you to pursue a career in the food business. It's a great thing. So we'll start with Louis again on that.
So do you guys like to eat food? Yeah. Do you like to eat food when things are going good? Do you like to eat food when things aren't going so good? Yeah. So that right there is why you should pursue a career in the food industry. The food industry is very exciting, and I would really encourage you to think of the food industry beyond just like what's put on your plate or what you snack on. If you take the time, and I know all of you have at least 5 minutes in your day, in your busy days, go to the grocery store and just walk around the store. You don't have to buy anything. Just go look at the products that are on the store. All of those food products happened because there were a lot of people who were kind of aligned in kind of to create that. And so food just doesn't mean you have to be a chef or you have to be a culinarian. It could be you're a food science. It could be that you're an engineer. When I walk through our plants today and I look at the amount of technology, the artificial intelligence that's being used and incorporated into how we put cheese into a package for consumers is mind-boggling. And, so when you think of like where your interests lie, be it in sales or marketing, engineering, biology, any of those types of areas, you can find a career in food. And if you find a career in food, I think you're going to be very happy because it is something that everybody enjoys to do. Everybody enjoys to eat. You know, people are eating differently today, but you're seeing how companies respond to how consumers are eating differently today. And that's what makes this whole industry just exciting, and it's just always changing. It's always evolving. So I'm almost pretty much sure that regardless of where your interests lie from an education standpoint or a career standpoint, you can find a lot of fun and enjoyment working within the food industry for sure.
We go to Colin.
Yeah, just to build on Louis' comments there, he's absolutely right. There are so many different roles go into getting a food item to the shelves. You know, the developer, the R&D person might develop the product, but they're working with a marketing team to decide what exactly the consumer wants. They then will work with accountants and their procurement team to work out what raw materials are going in there, source those raw materials, price the product. Supply chain then works out how we're going to get the raw materials to the factory, how they're going to get from the factory to the store. So there's just a huge breadth of products or roles involved in getting every single item that you see on the shelf. So you then, once you see that product on the shelf, you know, it doesn't matter what your role was, you know, supply chain, you know, IT in terms of programming some of the equipment, you've played a part in getting that product to the shelf. And as you've all said, you all eat, you all enjoy food at different times. Doesn't matter whether you're snacking, eating a pizza, going to a restaurant, you know, fast food. Everything, we enjoy the food, and you can play a part in getting that food on the shelves or in the store if you pick a role in the food industry. So it's fun, it's exciting. As you said, it's not always easy, but you know, if the job's rewarding, it never is absolutely easy. But at the end of the day, it's rewarding and fun.
Jamco.
So my fellow panelists have really talked about the breadth in the food industry. So whether you have a passion for accounting or science or sales or marketing, those all apply to the food industry. But really what it comes down to is you have such an advantage. The schools you're going to today, as you look at that, and I don't want to sound cliche, but be the best that you can be in school, and as you proceed on to college, and then looking at your career. And so when you join a company, and if it's in the food industry, and that's what we're here to talk about, it's about being the best you can be. And so there's other things that complement your education. Being on time, being prepared, being energetic, enthusiastic, respectful, polite, collaborative. These are really important areas for you to be the best you can be, because that is going to help you to rise and to grow in your career. You couple that with your education, and so that's my advice. I know it sounds serious. I'm not as funky as Truman is over here, you know, but really, it's to be the best you can be in school and at your job. Enthusiasm really will take you a long way in your career.
So my fellow panelists have said some wonderful things, which I definitely agree with, and there's just two things I think I'd like to add to that. The first is for the entrepreneurs out there who are looking to start your own career in the food industry. Definitely, you know, you want to be passionate about something that you're doing, but at the same time, you also want to make sure that that passion is also something that the consumer wants. When my husband and I were starting everything, you know, we loved the pretzel and thought they were the greatest things in the world, but we also did so much research. We did this for months and months and months to figure out who our competitors were, who was going to be buying our product. You really have to get a feel for all of that before investing all that time and money into starting your own business. So you may have the greatest cupcake recipe in the entire world, but if you have 5 other cupcake stores that are right in the same area that are all doing the same thing, it's going to be a challenge for you, and that's going to be hard in the long run. So that's a big thing I would say. The other thing is get as much experience as you possibly can. So I worked in the food industry starting at 13 years old, and I worked all the way through college. It helped me get through college by working in the restaurant world. And I learned so much from that. None of it was baking related, but I learned so much just about customer service and being a hard worker and all of that. And I met a lot of great people along the way who have helped me significantly with that. So anything you can do to network, work in any type of industry you possibly can, just to get experience and to really understand what it is that you like and don't like, I think is incredibly important.
Awesome. So last question for the panelists. How is your company meeting consumer demands for better food and beverage products? So I'll start with myself. I always wanted to just eat better stuff. I guess that's simple. Like when we make, spring rolls or egg rolls, it's the same, like 3 flavors. You got chicken, you got vegetarian, you got like a pork. That's about it, really, with the traditional spring roll fillings, whatever. And then, in today's age, in 2018, people want the fresh and local ingredients. People want, healthier ingredients. Lettuce is cool, but kale has, more vitamins and minerals. And avocados got the healthy fats. A lot of these, they call it trendy foods, but they're actually superfoods that actually have great benefits. I wanted to incorporate that in a lot of our spring rolls. So we have a buffalo chicken and kale. Anybody like kale? 4 people. Who don't like kale? Get out. The X is right there. No. Kale is really good. And, I wanted to find a way to make kale cool because honestly, a lot of people don't like kale. I didn't even have kale until I was like 20-something years old. Kale used to be just on the as a on the side of the salad bar just for a display or whatever, or avocado. Same with avocados. I didn't have avocados until I was older. So some of our flavors are buffalo chicken and kale. We got a chicken club, it's turkey, bacon, avocado, tomato, mozzarella. We have a sweet potato and a black bean. So I want to incorporate cooler flavors, not just cooler, but stuff that actually tastes delicious too, and just give consumers a different look on a traditional item. So we'll go to Colin. You start with it.
Thanks, Truman. Does anybody read the labels on the back of their food when they buy something and look at the ingredient deck? And do you ever see any words that you don't actually know what that is? And does it look like something you really want to eat? No. So that's something which we find ourselves in the taste and nutrition or ingredient business that we're working very hard with big companies and small companies alike. Consumers want to know what they're eating. They want to feel like they're eating real food and something that they actually want to eat. So, a big part of what we're working on right now across all the different customer bases we deal in is how do we make that label a little bit simpler? How do we make it read like it's real food and it's something that the consumers want to eat? So a lot of what we do, while it be flavors, we're making the flavors natural flavors. While it be just simplifying the ingredient deck, taking ingredients out there so that the product still tastes good, even though it might have less ingredients in there. I mean, ultimately, there was a reason these ingredients were put in there in the first place. Over the years, from a manufacturing perspective, they might help with shelf life, they might help with the taste, but now the consumers aren't looking for those ingredients in there, but they still want the taste. So we've got a combination of keeping the products cleaner, keeping the ingredient decks simpler and shorter, but still making the products taste good, which is a challenge because you're almost trying to do two opposites. But again, it's rewarding, it's fun, and definitely challenging, but it's something that the whole organization's focused on.
Sweet. Louis?
Well, I guess I could answer it by just saying we're real cheese people, right? Oh, I don't know. That didn't go over
that sounded just like the commercial.
It did. I think the way we're trying to bring excitement to consumers in cheese is just focusing on cheese. We're all about natural cheese, which, as Colin said, is, one of the simplest, foods that you can consume. When you think about it, it's basically, created by, what comes from a cow, and then you add some cultures and some enzymes to it, and you basically have natural cheese. And it's been being made that way for over 100 years, 100 plus years. So our job is to take that thing that has, just such a simple process of creating a natural cheese and make it fun and enjoyable for consumers across the United States and actually across the world to consume and enjoy, because there's so many great healthy benefits in consuming natural cheese, and that's exciting. That's fun for us because more people want to eat better. They want to know where their cheese comes from. They want to know how their cheese is made. We're trying to just take that thing and make it that much more accessible and exciting for consumers to continue to enjoy it as they have for centuries.
Sweet. Katie?
So our food philosophy as a company is is very, very simple. It's to produce a very high quality artisan pretzel at an affordable price for our consumers. We use the highest quality ingredients in our products. We're completely natural. We're non-GMO. We're as clean label as you possibly can get, and that's extremely important to us. And especially me, that's how I live my life. That's how I shop. So if I'm going to produce something and put my name on it, I want to be proud of what I'm putting inside of it. So, but what's really made us stand apart from other pretzel manufacturers is, we are using those high quality ingredients. We're not using any sugar in our pretzels to develop flavor. We're using malt, rye, slow fermentation. We're really trying to take that old world artisan German pretzel and bring it back to the U.S. And especially with the whole craft beer craze that's been going on right now, we've really been riding that wave and getting into a lot of tap rooms and other types of locations. But we found in our research and in our sales that people are really hungry for good quality products. They pay attention to where it's coming from and what's in it. So that's where I think we've been successful.
Awesome.
So when we talk about innovation and customer demand, consumer demand for products, I think what we're talking about here are looking for the gaps in the food and beverage space. So two really good examples, Katie's story and her husband were in Germany, and they said there really isn't a good, authentic pretzel. And so they came back and they found a gap in the marketplace. Same thing with Truman, your spring rolls. When I love hearing about your varieties. You've got 12 varieties of spring rolls. I mean, that's creativity and innovation. And so you can apply that towards anything in the world of food and beverage, whether it's a beverage or a snack or a frozen pizza. And so at Palermo's, we developed a product called Screaming Sicilian. There was a gap in the marketplace where there was not a craft-produced frozen pizza. So there's a lot of hand touches to that product. We use locally sourced ingredients to produce that Screaming Sicilian. And so it's not for everyone, but it's bountiful, full of Italian sausage and pepperoni and meatballs and fresh mozzarella. And then on the other side, we created a product called Urban Pie, which is a little more sophisticated. We call it the sophisticated sister of Screaming Sicilian. So if you like pesto sauce and cherry tomatoes and fresh mozzarella, we also have kale on one of our products. That's filling the gap in the marketplace. So some of it is intuition, where, hey, I think there's a gap. And much of it, though, is grounded on research. And it really comes down to what does the consumer want? What is it you're looking for in a product? Because you're the voice. My favorite pizza is anchovies and onions and Parmesan cheese. You're probably like, that make, you're like, right? It's okay. That's the response we get from people. That's awful sounding, right? But for me, I love that type of pizza. So it really comes down to what is the consumer's voice, and that's what we try to focus on. And that's a lot harder than I make it sound, finding out what the consumer wants, because we see trends changing so rapidly today. What was a trend years ago would last 2, 3, 4 years. Now those trends sometimes last 12 months, 18 months. And so dedicated to the quick pace of our industry is really important.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Clap it up for the CEOs.
Woo-hoo!
So we're going to give you guys an opportunity to come up and ask some questions. You can come now, or if you want to wait a couple minutes,
Come on up.
you come and ask a question. Don't be scared, guys.
You got to come up here to ask it. Get it.
All
Come
right.
on up.
Yes.
Come on up. Line up here. You want to get captured on the videotape, don't you?
This is going on YouTube, by the way.
All right. Don't be shy. Huh? Can you handle the microphone?
Yeah, I can
You
handle
got it. All right.
All right, keep them coming up. So what's your name, sir?
My name is Shiny.
And what school do you go to?
I'm Sheboygan Falls.
And what's your favorite food of all time?
I don't really have one. I like all foods.
All right, good man. All right, so what question do you have for any of us or all of us?
Not really for anyone in particular, but what do you think are some characteristics we need today to thrive in the industry of food?
Anyone want to take that? I just started one characteristic. You just gotta hustle, you know. And it sounds cliche or whatever, but not giving up. When you hit that brick wall, keep going through. Be innovative. Being creative is something that's very important, I think, and just making some really good food at the end of the day.
Hello. I would just add that I think in order to be successful in the food industry, you have to listen to your consumer. So you have to understand what your consumer wants, because even as Giacomo had just said, what he may like may not be a great business proposition for all consumers. So in order to be successful in the food industry, you have to understand who your market is, and you have to understand who your consumer is, and ultimately deliver something that they're going to want to purchase.
Awesome. We're almost done, guys, so you keep it down just a little bit. We appreciate it. Did I answer your question? Awesome. Clap it up for them, everybody. What's your name?
My name is Arno.
And what school do you go to?
I also go to Sheboygan Falls.
Sheboygan Falls in the house. Whoop, whoop. What question do you have for CEOs?
I feel like my question is that do you think that traveling around the world and experiencing how different cultures, basically thrive in their communities, do you think that experience could possibly help you make your own company? And yeah.
Anybody?
So I think every experience, whether I go to a restaurant or it could be I go into Sendik's, it provides inspiration. Then, of course, around the world, how innovation is being done in Europe or Asia. I'll be traveling to Japan later on this month. And so I think every one of those experiences is a data point that kind of adds up to an idea. And that's how I look at life, is every experience really matters.
Yeah, just to build on that, what we find within the flavor industry is that a lot of the trends in terms of what's happening next, what you're going to see in the food shelves, comes from restaurants. What we're seeing in mainstream restaurants usually comes from high-end restaurants, and then those high-end restaurant themes typically comes from overseas. So we do take from what we're seeing in Asia and different parts of the world. So, for example, Korean barbecue, it got a little bit trendy the last couple of years. So there's definitely different types of food that are coming from overseas that become the mainstream here, maybe a couple of years later. So those experiences do add up.
Thank you. Clap it up for them. What's your name, sir?
Clay,
And what school you with?
Plymouth, Wisconsin.
Plymouth? Got it. We understand. And what's your favorite food? I forgot to ask you. What's your favorite food?
Probably pizza.
It's a pizza guy right there, man. You ever had Palermo's? Well, you got to change that, sir. All right. So, what question do you have for the CEOs?
How do you prepare a company before?
How you?
The first step.
First step to starting a business. So for me, I just kind of went totally backwards. Like I said, I was selling rolls out of my. Actually, when I got laid off from construction, had to move back to my mom's house at 28 years old, which is the worst thing in the world. My dad's talking junk to me every day. That's another story. But I just started selling developing a product and knowing that people want a product that you want to buy. I think that's the first step. You know, you can have all the money and all the ideas and you can start a business, but if your product isn't worth buying, then you don't have a business ultimately. So that's my experience.
So I think the most important thing, I mentioned this before, is research, and figure out what it is you're going to be doing, and is there a consumer demand for it? Who are your competition? What price point do you need to be at? And really put pen to paper and do some research on that. We spent a lot of time doing that.
So just one more tip. On the research aspect, one of our market research was getting into the farmers markets because you're in front of hundreds and thousands of people at a time sometimes. So we had literally hundreds of subjects to test our research on. So, you know, I always encourage food business startups to start at a farmer's market. It's a low cost, and it's a great way to get in front of hundreds and thousands of people to, you know, develop your product. So thank you. Clap it up for me. How's it going? Hello, sir. What's your name?
Midu.
Midu? And what school you go to?
I go to Vincent High School.
And what's your favorite? Vincent? Is Vincent in the house? What's up, Vincent? All right. What's your favorite food?
Everything.
Everything. He's a big guy, so he likes to eat everything. That's good. All right. What question do you have for the CEOs?
Well, firstly, I would like to ask, how would you go about getting the funding? I know there's loans and stuff, but like, what's the best way to get the money and be able to pay that off in return with your...
That's an excellent question. That's something I struggle with literally every day. So I'm going to pass it on to the well-established businesses because I want to know too.
Well, actually, there's a lot of resources out there that can help you. In many communities, many counties, they have economic development corporations, and they have small business administration kind of startup resources to really help you build your business plan. And so I would encourage you, you know, once you kind of have that idea that you have, to go work with your community, in a sense, to help them kind of refine and shape your business plan. And from there, then you can look at opportunities for financing or funding to kind of help kind of pursue in your what you want to do. Then ultimately, how do you pay that off? Well, you have to be successful. So that's why you want to do your homework, as Katie was just mentioning too, and the research behind it. Develop that plan, develop that business plan, bounce it off of a bunch of people, and use the resources available in your community so that you have the best opportunity for it being a success. Now, I will tell you, and my grandfather's a perfect example, your first go at it may not be successful. My grandfather failed at probably a half a dozen different things before ultimately finding success in the cheese industry. So you have to be willing to kind of give something to try and fail, but then pick yourself back up and try it again.
And just to add to that, when we started our business, we looked at different investor groups and, you know, building a big, large factory right off the bat, but we ultimately decided to start small. And we started our business with $3,000, and it was me and my husband's money that we put in. And that is what we have put into the business to this day, of our personal money. And what was really important about that was that we are 100% in control of everything that we're doing. So we started slow and did slow managed growth to really prove the concept, to make sure it's something that people were actually going to buy, versus spending millions of dollars up front and developing this perfect, great space, and then you find out nobody's buying it, nobody wants it. So I can't say more about everything right now in our world is so instant, and people want things fast, but it took us years and so much hard work to get up to that point. And it's very, very fulfilling to know that we are in full control and in full ownership of it.
Awesome. I just want to add one thing for, definitely being a younger group. You can start a food business now. They got plenty of different social campaigns you could do, like Kickstarters, or there's an organization called Kiva that does startup loans for small businesses. I don't really encourage GoFundMe for starting a business. It's become, like taboo now, but Kickstarter is a great way, Kiva loans, and just other social campaigns to, get startup capital. So thank you. Clap it up for me. How's it going, sir? What's your name?
Shamar,
And what school you go to?
Washington High School.
House. Okay. What question do you have for the CEOs?
I have a question for Katie. I wanted to ask, how do you keep up with the other personal companies since you are a newer one?
Did you ask how I keep up with the other pretzel companies? Okay, so what we do a lot is we really look at what makes us different. And I think what's really important is sharing our story of where we came from and why that's unique. People really love to know what your background is and what your story is. We also make sure that that our recipe and what we're doing is staying true to what our beliefs are and staying natural. So there are not many other companies out there that are doing a really natural product like ours. So we're constantly looking at what our competitors are doing and making sure we're in line. But at the same time, we will never ever sacrifice quality of our product just to be price competitive. We've turned down quite a few things because we don't want to lose that authenticity and quality. So it's really just staying true to what we believe in.
Clap it up for me. Hello, what's your name? Tamisha, and what school you go to?
Washington.
Washington. All right, what question do you have for the CEOs? For me,
Okay, my question is, the name of your product was not traditional, but yet fun and catchy. Were you afraid that people wouldn't buy it?
that's a really good question. I believed in it so much, and like I said, my research is more with my inner circle. So my family, most families are brutally honest, except for the American Idol families. I don't know why. But my family was brutally honest, and my dad's one of the strictest people in the world, and he thought me starting a food business was the dumbest idea in the world. And I got him to believe that this is a great product, and I knew that if I had him, it's a lot of people that think like him that think traditional, and I just started with them, and they gave me the thumbs up, and we just kept expanding with their friends, and that's when I started to put all in. Because at the time, I was doing personal training and selling food at the same time. So when I seen that people believed in it, and I just had something in me that just knew that this would be a home run one day, and I just believed in it, and I didn't listen to anybody that had negative thoughts, and I surrounded myself with positive people, and I just kept building from there. So you gotta, ultimately at the end of the day, you gotta always believe in yourself, and that's pretty much what I did. So, thank you. Hello, how you doing? What's your name?
Callie.
And I'm assuming you go to Washington. What's your favorite food?
Brownies.
Brownies. Anybody else like brownies? Yeah. All right. What's your question for the entrepreneurs?
My question for Gummico, since your family started Palermo's, did you eventually go to college?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Since your family started Palermo's, did you eventually go to college?
Yes. So it's sort of a unique story because I was in high school. I went to Dominican High, and my family was so involved in our business. I never really looked at colleges in the way that a lot of students look at. So I just decided my focus was always on the restaurant business and the frozen pizza business. So I went to Milwaukee Area Technical College, and I never actually finished. I went there for 2 years, but I didn't get my degree, which I'm somewhat embarrassed to say. But I only took the courses I needed to because my focus was on the business. I would not advise anyone here to take that path because, as I said earlier, when you combine an education and the passion for whatever career you want to get into, that is the great duo to success. So, but I'll tell you though, going to MATC, I had some phenomenal instructors that I connected with so closely, and they were mentors to me in many ways, from the finance and the marketing side. These were folks that were in the industry. So I was like a sponge to learn as much as I could from their knowledge, and that's what I would encourage you to do as well.
Clap it up, everyone.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. How you doing?
Good.
What's your name?
Brad.
And what school do you go to?
I go to Cal Moraine.
Cal Moraine. I lost him in my last wrestling match, so we got to have a conversation after that. But what would you like to ask the CEOs?
What's like the day-to-day most difficult part of being a CEO?
I think the hardest piece is employee management. That was probably the biggest surprise for me as we were growing our business, was that employees, they're the most wonderful blessing in the entire world, and I would say to you that's my favorite part of the business, but it's also the most challenging part, because you really want to get good people in place, and when you don't have good people in place, it can become extremely challenging, but it also takes up a lot of your time. You're developing talent. You're also dealing with a lot of issues. Sometimes it's people just not liking each other, and that can take up quite a bit of time. So, when the other panels were talking about how important it is to have good people in place, I can't stress. I wish I would have known that years and years ago, because it would have saved me probably a few headaches along the way. So.
Sweet. Thank you. Keep it up. How's it going, sir?
Hi.
What's your name?
Chad.
And what school do you go to?
Kettle Moraine.
Kettle Moraine. All right, Chad. What question do you have for the...
How do you keep it local in Milwaukee? Do you use local ingredients, or what do you do to keep it local?
We use local as much as we can. It's hard because we're using ingredients like flour and yeast and salt and things like that kind of come from different regions. But what we try to do more than anything else is to work with companies that are local. So there's a lot of distributors that you can get food product from. We try to stick with the local guy that's bringing us flour or other types of things, or bags or different things like that. It's impossible to get everything local on our end, but it is important for us. We've had so much support ourselves locally from different restaurants, so it's really important for us to circle that around and do the same wherever we can.
Awesome. How's it going? What's your name, sir?
Charlie.
And what school do you go to?
Plymouth.
Plymouth. And what is your favorite, if you had one more meal to eat, what's the last thing you would eat?
Probably a turkey wrap.
A turkey wrap. What about a turkey spring roll? Hey, maybe. Okay. What question do you have for the entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so how do you get your main source of customer feedback?
Main source of customer feedback. Anyone? I can start it if you want to think. For me, like I said, we're in the farmers markets, catering, restaurant business right now. So actual customers, telling us Facebook, social media is huge now. If you've seen what's been going on with Bel Air and Starbucks, like you get an instant feedback from social media. So that's been huge, which probably in human history has never been done, where you can instantly get feedback. So for me, we're very active on social media. So engaging with our customers and seeing what they say. A lot of times people call or even directly for me, but I would assume they have a different experience than I do. If you want to elaborate.
So for us, one way of customer feedback is we have a toll-free number that customers can actually call into our company and actually talk to a person, and whether it's a suggestion for our product or whether it's a complaint. So that's one way we do it. Another way we do it is we have focus groups where we test our products with consumers, so it's statistically valid, and we get their feedback on the crust or sauce or cheese, because it's so subjective what makes a good pizza, and some people will say it's one component or another. So those are just two ways. I know Louis and I were sharing, so I'm sure Louis has more insights.
I would just add one more, and that is developing relationships with your customers. So if you're selling a consumer packaged good, you have to develop the relationship with like the Sendex or the Pick and Save. You have to understand how they operate and seek feedback from you. And so if you develop those relationships, that's another way that you can get great feedback from them on how you're merchandising their product in their stores to how you're marketing and advertising your product as well.
Thank you. Got two more. Come on up, young man. What's your name, sir? Miguel. And what school do you go to?
Indian Trail.
Indian Trails. What questions do you have for?
You guys wanted to give up. What motivated you to get past that?
All right, I'll start because these are like my favorite things. I mean, I have times all the time. I mean, as early as like last week, where I was like, you know what? Maybe I should go back into construction. You know, but it's just like a little voice. But knowing that none of these people up here have an easy route at it. No business that you see every day has just had an easy road, and you just got to be conscious that you're going to have troubles. And I, on the more spiritual side, I always feel like the universe kind of brings, whenever you feel like you stumble, there's always something to kind of, push you forward and to help you along your route or whatever. So it sounds cliche, but when you really believe in something, I think all of the universe kind of conspires to help you. It's a quote out of one of my favorite books, The Alchemist, but it's true that when you truly believe something and you truly have a passion for something, something's going to always kind of help push you forward whenever you hit tough patches. And just knowing why you're here, revisit the core beliefs of your business. Why are you here? Why are you doing that? And you stick to that, and you'll get through the tough patches.
And I think I'd like to add, anytime that I felt like I've wanted to give up or have been struggling or am overexhausted, I'll walk into our production facility and look at all of our employees there, and that instantly gives me energy and revitalizes me, because I look at everyone there and I say, we're giving them a job, we're giving them an opportunity, we're giving them an experience that hopefully is better than any other job that they've had, and that's what really keeps me going.
I would like to add one more thing to that that I was going to say earlier, and I think it's really, really important to have a mentor in your life. And it was really beneficial for me growing up to have someone that I could talk to about whether it's personal or business. And so I would encourage each of you to not go it alone, to have a mentor, whether it's a parent or a teacher or a friend. That really will help you through the good times and the hard times.
What do you kids say? You say facts only? Major facts? That's facts for real. So clap it up for him. Our last question of the day. All right, it's got to be a home run, man. All the pressure's on you. Last question. What's your name, sir?
Cody Gerber.
And what school you go to?
Waupun.
Waupun. And what's your least favorite food of all time? Hope it's not pizza or spring rolls or pretzels or cheese or ingredients.
You're not going to like this.
Oh, no.
Kale.
Kale? Kale, no, man. Kale, no. All right, we'll let you slide. We'll just slide. What's your question for the CEOs?
So y'all are kind of like the heads of your company. What's next for your company? Like, what are you guys doing next?
Cool. We'll let everyone answer this question just as briefly as possible. For us, we're opening up a store in the Grand Avenue Mall in 2019. We're going to be rolling our products into grocery stores.
So there's a lot what's next, and I think one of the more exciting things is our Urban Pie line as we enter into the all-natural category, and we're excited about that channel. So that's one thing that's next. But, we look out 3 to 5 years and say, where do we want to go in those 3 to 5 years? And that plan helps to guide our course.
Our focus over the next few years here is to really align ourselves with restaurant chains or restaurant groups. That's primarily who we sell to as an appetizer item, and to really grow with them and distribute more nationally. We're really focused in the Midwest, so we want to really expand our reach and get our product out farther.
I would say that as large as we are, we're still a rather small fish in the sea of the cheese category. We're about a 14 share of a $14 billion category of natural cheese. So we have clearly a lot of opportunity just within that space yet to grow. The areas of snacking, I'm sure all of you probably snack more than you sit down to have a meal. Is extremely exciting. It's also very inspiring. And so we have a lot of great new exciting things to kind of capitalize on that area of snacking with consumers.
Yeah, at Kerry, we are a public company, so we have financial goals as to where we want to be going and where we're going to go next. I think the fun part of the food industry is, the panelists have talked about the trends and how trends are changing that much faster. So in terms of where we're going next, the exciting thing is probably looking out 12 to 18 months. We probably don't know where we're going to go next, because we definitely would follow the trends. We've got to stay on trend. One thing we do know right now is we're working with a lot more smaller companies. The big companies that traditionally we've been consuming their brands. We're seeing way more small brands coming to the marketplace, so that's exciting. So we're definitely going to be working with a lot more smaller companies, local companies, startup companies, which is different, but it's going to get us towards our 5-year plan as we go forward here.
Startup companies like Funky Fresh Spring Rolls. Anyone? All right, thank you.
Quick question for each of you, because you have been asking it. Your favorite food?
Buffalo chicken spring rolls.
Colin?
Indian food.
Indian food. Louis?
Grilled cheese sandwich.
Katie?
Dairy Queen ice cream cake.
Oh.
I love spaghetti and meatballs.
Very good. Another round for our panel. Thank you very much. And I also want a round for all the students who got a little moxie and got themselves up here to ask some questions. So congratulations to all of you. Great. If you guys want to take your seat. Thank you. Even in my job, I don't get that kind of time to hear our CEOs really delve into what they do and how they do it. So again, thank you very much for making the time to come out for the students. I also want to thank our Kickstart breakfast sponsors. And first of all, to all of the exhibitors here today, there's food back there if you haven't had it yet. So there's plenty of sandwiches left over. Make sure that you grab it. And for you students, if you're extra hungry, again, we have more sandwiches left back there for you. So let's talk a little bit about those sandwiches. Milwaukee pretzel, you've heard about that, they rock. Sargento cheese, little Johnsonville sausage inside, little Malio fruit cup on the side. And Sam Malio is actually here with us today as well. Sam, you want to stand up? Sam's the CEO of Malio Company. He affectionately calls himself the tomato guy. He actually has a tomato costume as well, but he dressed up for us today. Juice by Ocean Spray that's in the house. Yeah. Good Foods Group's also donated juice for the day. Valentine Coffee, Rob and Joe, the owners of Valentine Coffee, are with us today. You guys want to shake it out a little bit there? And then finally, Sendex donated water so that we could all stay quenched during today. Thank you to all of our Kickstart breakfast sponsors. We have another top dog in the house, and that is the president of Christian Hansen, David Carpenter. I don't know if he was here earlier. He came, there he is over there. You can call him the enzyme guy. Before we kick off into the second half of the Farm Factory Fork, that goes till 1:30, so you have plenty of time to visit all of the booths. I want to invite you to visit all of our exhibitors. They have really put some energy into the discovery activities for all of you around the idea of better food. And that better food isn't just better tasting, it's also how it's made. Is it made safely? What kind of equipment do they use? You can even start to ask them questions about how they get involved in their communities from a nonprofit level. In addition to that, Mount Mary, they're right in the back corner there. You guys want to wave? They are actually offering tours of the new food science lab here if you want to get into the rotation. It's a 15-minute rotation to go up and come back to that lab. And then we also finally have an ideation zone on this side of the room that we'd love to get your feedback through. So students stop in and fill out some of the Post-its for us. Finally, I want to let you all know, because I won't get a chance to talk to you again today, at least as a whole group, that we are working with all of the food companies here today, and as many as possible that are members of Fab Wisconsin, to get them on to the Inspire platform. So when you come to school next year, you'll be able to connect with all of these companies and the coaches that they sign up so that we can work with you and talk with you all year long, if not all year long, at least till the next Farm Factory Fork. So with that, I hope you enjoy your day, and always eat, drink, and be merry. Thank you.